welcome to another edition of On the Fly. I'm your host, Eric, and with me today I have our Director of Sales Enablement, Amanda Daume. Amanda, welcome to On the Fly. Sorry to kill your wave. You can finish that if you'd like. Amanda, our topic today, I've got the Director of Sales Enablement, so why don't we talk about sales systems?
Would love to.
Okay, let's talk complex stuff. Let's talk problems and solutions and all that type of stuff. When I think of sales systems, I think of CRMs. I think of as a agency, how we support all that stuff. So how would you describe a sales system? Is it just the CRM? Does it go bigger than that? Like, give me a little color on sort of defining what sales systems are in today's world.
Sure. To your point, a sales system is much bigger than just the CRM. A sales system, to me, is the sum of all of the parts, all of the mechanisms, whether it's in the CRM or it's a process that the team is leading just outside of the CRM, or it's something that the marketing team is doing on their end. It's the sum of all of those parts, so it becomes more of a revenue system than just a sales system.
Like an organizational growth system, if you will.
Exactly.
But the sales piece of it is very important because the sales piece of it requires us to work with things like CRM and salespeople and stuff like that, and that's really what your department does, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what types of environments do we sort of walk into? Like, what are some of like the core situational type stuff that we solve through? Like, they have this going on, or they want to do this, or they want to do that. I think you've narrowed it down to like 3 or 4 real core sort of scenarios that people face.
Yeah, so I would say the 4 primary situations we find ourselves in. One, they've been using spreadsheets, notebooks, Post-it notes to manage their business. And in that scenario, we're coming in to stand up a system from the ground up, and that would be an implementation. Another scenario.
So a fresh stand-up is scenario 1.
Yeah.
Building your CRM out for the first time.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Second scenario we run into, they're using a CRM currently, but for whatever reason, that CRM doesn't meet their needs anymore. So they want to exit that platform and move into a new platform, and that would be a migration.
An upgrade, a
situation.
migration. So it's in our world we call that a rip and replace, where we're ripping out a system and replacing it with a new and better one.
Correct.
And that requires a migration.
Absolutely. That's one element of it. We would never propose replicating system for system, right? We would try to take the opportunity to optimize going into
improve it as we move it, because
Exactly.
Ideally you're leaving antiquated or legacy technology, otherwise you wouldn't be migrating.
Right. You'll have new features and functions.
New
available.
capabilities. Good. Okay,
Yep.
great. That's scenario 2.
The third scenario, they're using a CRM platform that they want to maintain for the sales aspect, but they want it to integrate with their marketing platform. Typically, we run into HubSpot, so we're doing a HubSpot CRM outside of HubSpot Sales Hub integration.
Okay, so
that's
for
the third
instance,
scenario.
like I have Salesforce and I'm adding HubSpot as my marketing software.
Correct.
And I need to make the two talk to each other?
Yes.
Got it. That can happen with all kinds of different pieces of technology, though, right? It doesn't always have to be HubSpot marketing or Salesforce. It could be multiple different types of CRMs, right?
Yes.
Multiple different types of marketing automation
Absolutely.
software, even other systems that aren't marketing automation software, right?
Correct.
Okay, good. And that's the third scenario. What's a fourth?
The fourth scenario, they like everything as it is, but they recognize that maybe it's a little bit stale or stagnant, so they want to come in with a fresh set of eyes and find opportunities to refine any mechanisms or microprocesses and optimize that. So optimization is the fourth scenario.
So optimization number 4 is not only stale or stagnant. In a lot of cases, I think our experience is that it just hasn't been very well adopted, and people
Also.
aren't executing within it as is, right? So we need
Right.
to improve things, which to me leads into bigger than system. It also leads into the sort of the segue into the team piece of things.
Absolutely.
We do a lot of adoption training, right?
We do.
Okay, talk to me about how systems and people work together to really produce results, right? It doesn't matter what piece of tech you put them in. If they can't be effective in it, it's not going to work.
Right.
Do you find that systems are too complex? Like, help me understand that.
That's a great point. There's actually a study out there that shows that 75% of CRM implementations fail not because of the tool itself, but because of the lack of adoption and proper training.
So it's not the software's fault.
Correct. And so in that, we'll look at, from a training perspective, maybe different levels of competency, or is the system overcomplicated, to your point?
Their sales process, right?
Can we dial it back?
Yeah, can we simplify an over-engineered system
It's easy to get
into
in there.
a light and loose and easy-to-use system
Right.
so that salespeople will be more likely to adopt it?
Yes.
So it's not always that salespeople are just lazy or entitled. It's sometimes maybe the fact that it wasn't properly constructed and designed. Like, I think you guys do a lot on the architecture side. Talk to me about how you come up with the strategy for any of those 4 scenarios, how to build it for the salespeople.
Yeah, so it's very easy to design and architect these systems in a vacuum and, what if it could do this and this would be so great. But we, in our process, try to narrow it down to maybe the 3 to 5 features or functions that we're really going to focus on for our launch.
Don't we have a word for that?
MVP?
Features of focus?
Features of focus.
Features of focus, yes. MVP is an important thing. That talks about not over-engineering, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
So
go into that.
we want to push it live as soon as we can so that we can start generating actual user information and data that we can use then to go back and tweak anything that maybe we didn't consider, or then we can just move into phase 2 if everything's working well.
So optimization relies on actual use, not just continual iteration during build mode.
Exactly.
You want to get it live so that we can have people experiencing it, prospects and salespeople, so that you actually make it better with data.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to just optimize or make change for the sake of change. We want to make it based on actual usage data.
Okay, so a lot of design on the front side, a lot of understanding of what are the key features, what's the sales process, what's the desired end in mind, who are the users,
That's important.
what is the sale, how they define all of their criteria for how they do routing and stuff like that, pipelines involved with that, reporting.
Yeah, and we want to make sure too that the pipeline and the reporting is aligned with any sales methodology that they might have in place, whether it's, Sandler sales, spin selling, all the different methodologies that might be out there. We want to make sure that the system aligns to support that.
To support the methodology that the salesperson is asked to behave.
Right, because
within.
if it doesn't, then they won't behave the right way and you end up with no adoption.
Okay, so now how do you help adoption happen beyond that? Like, now that they actually start using it, what do you build, make, or teach, or stand along? Like, how does a team like yours, a sales enablement team, stand alongside those salespeople?
Sure, so we'll design a training program specific for them that takes into consideration their competencies in the tech stack, their regions maybe,
Sure.
proficiency, and also their team size too. If they have a team of 40, we're not going to try to get everybody into one training session, right?
Okay, so
So we wanna
training
make sure-
sessions in general are part of it.
Correct, training sessions, and we'll record those. We'll make sure that they're sized right so that people feel like they can ask questions along the way.
So you record them and keep them. That way, if you have a new salesperson start a couple months later, you also have training materials,
Exactly, we can onboard them, get them up to speed very quickly.
right? And references and resources for existing salespeople,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah, so we'll also build sort of an internal resource center, we call it the FAQ, where we have, how to add a contact, how to update the lead status, when do I change the pipeline stage, and we'll have videos, screen recordings of that,
Cool.
and text, so people can get the content however they prefer.
Okay. I think another big piece of the modern sales system is not only the capability to sort of sort and Rolodex and track deals, funnels, pipelines, and reporting, but it seems like the advancements around sales enablement, sales systems, CRMs, other pieces of software has really helped into more of like the enablement, like the production and productivity, the efficiency and effectiveness. Can you give some examples more on the how we empower salespeople to do the normal functions of their communication and job? Is that's an element of it, right?
Sure. Once we feel like they've got a really good handle on how to use the basic features of the system, we'll start to help them identify areas we can inject maybe some email templates or some sequences of follow-up that they are, if we can identify some patterns of communication that they're going through time and time again, just to make it easier for them. We'll make sure that they've got meeting links set up to make it easy for their prospects to book time on their calendar. Different kinds of reporting that help them figure out which leads or contacts they should be targeting.
What I heard there is all like making me more efficient and making it easier for me to be a great salesperson from a salesperson's perspective. It seems like the buzzword there is like increase my active selling time. Don't bog me down with sorting through leads. Don't bog me down with a whole bunch of unnecessary, irrelevant steps.
Right.
Like help me do what I know I need to do as a salesperson. Help me keep track of everything and help me do it quicker and faster so that I can do more of them, right? And that's how you reduce average days to close and increase win rates and all that stuff. So in other words, your strategic bet is that you can make my job easier and more effective. In other words, I would close more deals as a salesperson over the course of a year, say, and I would probably put more commission dollars in my pocket too, right?
For sure. If you follow the steps.
That's compelling to me as a
If you lean
salesperson.
into it and embrace it.
As a salesperson.
Don't fight it.
Don't fight it.
Don't
Okay,
fight it.
that's good advice. As a salesperson, I am very money motivated. So if I want more money, embrace the system.
Yes.
Give
lean
really
into
solid feedback, lean into it. Good. Okay, so I have noticed rather lately that your team has been receiving all sorts of accolades, all sorts of awards. We have been on a tear on the HubSpot Impact Award front, specifically with both sales enablement type awards and integration type awards. My favorite thing about those awards is what it really requires us to do is truly capture all the data and really, really tell the story. Can you give me an example of a recent award-winning story that we've written for one of our clients maybe, and the short version of like what their challenge was, what they were faced with, and the high level of what we designed and implemented, like why that project was successful, that kind of stuff?
Of course. Yeah, about a year and a half ago, Catherine McGavin of Emerald City Graphix came to us, their print shop up in Washington, and everything was paper-based. They're a printing company, everything was paper-based. And she had this amazing vision of digitizing everything, bringing them into the modern age. And
modernization.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And she had some tools and technologies in place.
What'd she have in place?
She had PandaDoc in place for the document generation.
Okay.
And she had HubSpot in place for the marketing and CMS elements.
Okay.
And she knew that if they could talk to each other, we would be getting more value out of both platforms than either of them individually.
Sure, uncork the capabilities of synergy.
Yes.
So we've been helping her do that?
Absolutely, yeah. Of course, PandaDoc and HubSpot have a native integration, but their process, their business model required a much more complicated connection between those two systems.
Like number of fields and complexity of the associations? Like give me some scale there, like how many fields or tokens or features of focus or whatever.
Yeah, context here. On their deal records alone, they've got almost 970 properties that they're managing. So one print job comes in, they've got 970 pieces of information specific to that project that they have to manage. And the margin of error is so tiny, they cannot make any risk of error on human input.
So increased accuracy for sure.
For sure.
Okay.
To their customers, that could crumble their businesses if they made one tiny error.
Yikes. That seems like a lot on the line. Can you believe that Catherine trusted us with that much important stuff?
I can. We're a trustworthy crew.
I think you earned that trust,
the
right?
trust, yeah.
She didn't just like open the whole keys to the kingdom all at once.
No,
We went
absolutely
through
not.
phases here
Absolutely.
of growth and development,
Yeah.
and those just accumulated in, I think, the 2019 Integration Innovation Award. Is that
For
correct?
Q2, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Great story, but we're not done there yet. There's more to do.
Oh, so much more to do. Tons of opportunity. They have 9 other entities in that organization that will benefit from the same level of
Similar but different
tech stack.
functionality and stuff like that. So there's replicatability and scale there.
Absolutely.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's safe to say that when we get all this stuff going, a couple things is, first of all, it can be really impactful really early, but it can also uncork additional opportunity and future work to be done to improve more pieces. You mentioned on like revenue enablement and organizational growth. It's more than just sales. These systems are much bigger than just CRMs. They're growth systems, and the ability to get everything working uncorks all kinds of different angles, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is just removing friction in, maybe a portion of their business. But once we get that going, I think it will be great momentum for the rest of the organization.
Good. Speaking of momentum, we're going to end this thing with a bold prediction from you. Do you have any predictions about the future of all of this stuff, right? Like, where will sales enablement, sales systems, digital growth, all this capability and communication, what's the future for this? What's the impact or opportunity for businesses?
I think for the businesses who can get it right, who put the CRM at the core of their business and treat it as a core component, and make sure that they're building the rest of their business around that with the proper support, I think that the potential for growth, the trajectory of that growth significantly will increase.
It's going to hockey stick it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's awesome. All right, all. That's it for us today on another edition of On the Fly. Thank you for joining us, Amanda. You've been an awesome guest. Thank you for
Thanks
dropping
for
a little
having me.
knowledge on us. Absolutely. We'll do it again sometime. We'll see you all next time.